This is really a new field, this notion of syndicated advertising, and this is something that we're now working with a lot of the sales groups in media companies that we partner with, which is how do you go to a buyer and say, well, we actually have a network where our content is exhibited, and there's some uncontrolled parts of it and there's some controlled parts of it, and what we're finding is that the buyers and the sales teams are starting to think about differentiated pricing. So if you think about remnant ad networks, for example, buyers understand they don't have full visibility into the reach of that, but they're willing to pay for it, but on a discount. And so what I think you're really starting to just see is some differentiated pricing and packaging for those kinds of media buys.
What are the opportunities for big newspapers to embrace community-generated video, and how is that going to play out?
I would certainly extend that beyond newspapers. I think newspapers, really anyone with a branded relationship to consumers has an opportunity to have consumer participation in that channel and brand. And so I think newspapers or local media is a very natural place because you have this deep local affinity and consumers have passion around their sports teams, their lifestyle, their culture, etc. And so I think that's clearly a natural place to capture that. But just as well, I think someone that's passionate about men's health would be willing to create content and submit that to a men's health magazine, or someone who's passionate about a given niche sport or food or whatever it is. There's consumer passion that exists around all these interesting topics, and media companies have an opportunity to organize that participation, create platforms that combine that consumer submitted media with their own professionally created media, and program that in a really interesting way. So I think you'll end up seeing, and we've launched now hundreds of user-generated video sites with our consumer media features. I suspect that this year that will grow to thousands, and it'll be many of the news, magazine, television, and other companies doing it as well.
Bright Cove has been known as a sort of a professional platform for big publishers and big companies and businesses primarily. You've changed things recently with this Bright Cove Personal. Tell us a little bit about that and why consumers should embrace your platform.
A couple of months ago, we relaunched brightcove.com as a consumer-facing video site, and so if a consumer visits that site, they'll find thousands of different video channels. All that content is professional media and professional and commercial media from every range of media company all the way down to niche independent producers, and so that's from a content perspective, that's been the focus. All we're really doing now is we're adding more features for consumers to much more directly participate in our consumer-facing site. And so we're Bright Cove Personal, which launched last week, really does two things. One is it's a really high-quality way for consumers to share their own video, and so consumers have free and unlimited distribution. They can upload assets, and we'll encode them into a very high-quality flash video output. The quality, I think, is dramatically better than other video sharing platforms. And then they can take those and put them in a personal channel. So now consumers can create channels on our site just like professional media companies and commercial organizations can create channels on our site. So again, a couple thousand commercial channels now. We're seeing consumer channels get created. In addition to posting their own content, consumers can essentially program the media library, so they can find interesting content throughout the site and add that into their own channel and program their own lineups of media from throughout the site.